Right, a very good evening, all of you. Welcome to our Fun Fest. So in today's live session, we'll have a quiz in a different format, and we'll be giving you the rules, everything before we start the session. And by the end of the session, right, by the time we complete the session, we'll obviously have winners, but we'll take some time, analyze your scores once again, and then we'll go ahead with result declaration as soon as possible, that is within 24 hours. So first of all, please confirm the streaming quality. So how is the audio and video streaming? Is it fine? If you want me to raise my voice, do let me know in the comment section. And the only way in which you're going to answer the questions is through live chat. So make sure that you switch on your live chat and you're ready before you answer any question, okay? So I hope it's all streaming fine. So we'll go ahead with our session. And if you have any queries or you need any clarification, do let me know now itself before we go ahead with our quiz, right? Yeah, all fine? Okay, that's fantastic to hear. Then without much delay, let's go ahead with our, so I prepared a presentation and we'll have the instructions now. Okay, first and foremost, this is the first Fun Fest which we are organizing this year in 2021. As far as I remember, there was no Fun Fest in 2020, but previously, 17, 18, and 19, we conducted several Fun Fests, almost 4 Fun Fests, 3 to 4. So this will be the only Fun Fest which we are organizing during the pandemic times. So the speciality of Fun Fest is we'll be declaring the winners. So we'll be choosing top 3 winners based on your scores, based on your performance, and we'll be delivering you special gifts. We'll be taking your address, and then we'll be delivering you special gifts, as I already mentioned in the previous live session and also in today's update, right? So what's this Fun Fest concept all about? So the concept is, as you can see, it's not just about winning. It's more than winning. It's about celebration. In fact, the GIF which you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's one of the most memorable and my personal favorite GIFs ever. You can see, I mean, those who are fans of Big Bang Theory. So this is from the final 2 episodes of Big Bang Theory, where Sheldon comes to know, right, about their achievement, Nobel Prize in physics, both Sheldon and Amy. And you can observe here very clearly that, of course, Sheldon and Amy are very happy. They're very excited because they won. But what about Leonard and Penny? Why do you think they are celebrating along with them? So success is not just about one person feeling great and rest of them crying over the other's achievement. Rather, it's about overall celebration for a greater good. So if that's a success we are achieving in the process, then it's not even called as winning. It's celebration. So that's the concept of this fun fest. So it's not just about winning. It's about more than winning. It's about celebration. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy each and every question. And also, I said we'll be incorporating general knowledge questions, so to make it even more fun and interesting, right? So I hope you guys are all ready. And before we go ahead with the questions, here are the instructions. So you have the following rules. First and foremost, we're going to have 2 rounds. That's it, only 2 rounds. So in first round, you'll have 10 questions which are academic based or subject based, that is dental subject or specialty based on the topics which I already mentioned. That is the last 3 live session related topics: endodontic flare-ups, secondary retentive resistant form or features, and then impression mixing techniques using elastomeric impressions, right? So from those topics, we will have these 10 questions in different formats, not just typical MCQ, but also we'll have some blanks and choose the odd one out. So different formats possible to make things more interesting. And second round, we'll have 5 questions. Only 5 questions. I'm not going to trouble you much with general knowledge questions. And there is no specific emphasis on a particular section, but current affairs, sobriquets in general. Okay, so I promise you it's going to be very, very interesting. And then, so these are the rounds we have: first round and second round. And coming to scores, if you answer it right, so all you need to do is, once you look into the question, you need to just type your answer in the live chat, just like how we interact in our any other live session. But this time that will be considered for prizes. That's the only difference we have. So if you answer it right, you'll get 10 marks. If you answer it wrong, 0 marks, no negative marking, right? Not to discourage you. And maximum score, 15 questions into 10, 150 will be the maximum score for this fun fest today. And then time, let's not extend it beyond 2 minutes. So if you want, I can, but mostly we'll stick on to this 2-minute criteria. So for each and every question, you will get 2 minutes, right? After which I'll be shifting or changing the slide and we'll move on with the next question, right? And finally, the result. So this is the interesting part. That's the speciality of this fun fest. Top 3 winners based on overall scores will be evaluated and declared within 24 hours, because doing it simultaneously is not possible for me. So what we'll do is we'll carry on with this live session as usual. And within 24 hours, we'll give you the key. We'll also declare top 3 winners from this particular session. So these are the instructions I have. I hope you guys are all ready. So I'm just waiting for your thumbs up. Once you give me a thumbs up, I mean, not the soft drink, but a smiley thumbs up, then we'll go ahead with our first round, right? Yeah, I'm just setting my buzzer in the meantime. Okay, this seems fine. Okay, that's wonderful to hear. So thumbs up, so we can go ahead then. So first and foremost, as I said, we'll start with first round. Here you go. So round 1, you will have questions, 10 questions from the topics which I already mentioned previously. So first and foremost, which of the following statements is false? The recommended endodontic irrigation needle is 30 gauge side vented, close-ended needle? Option B, irrigation needle should be placed 1 mm short of working length in anterior tooth. Option C, irrigation needle should be placed 1 mm short of working length in posterior tooth. Option D, none of the above. So which one of them do you think is a false statement? Or would you choose option D? So which of the following statements is false? In fact, we discussed about specific considerations when going ahead with endodontic irrigation, using passive methods, right? Negative pressure techniques. And also we have seen some illustrations representing some irrigation needles. I'm not going to give you any hint, but I'm just trying to tell you that we already discussed this in our previous live sessions. So which one of them is false statement? The recommended endodontic irrigation needle is 30 gauge side-vented close-ended needle. Irrigation needle should be placed 1 mm short of working length, either in case of anterior tooth or posterior tooth. Or do you think all of them are true? Right. Since this is the first question, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes, right? So please go ahead and answer. And also, it seems more members are joining now live. So let's see. Let's give others a chance as well. So just identify the false statement. Okay, and by the way, in the process, I'm not going to present any key because that will again skew the result, right? So I'll just keep mum when it comes to key or result. All I'm going to do is present you questions and observe your answers. Observation is the main task for me today. Okay, very good. Yeah, well done. So now let's move on to the next question. Yeah. Sodium hypochlorite is isotonic solution, hypotonic, hypertonic. In fact, this is the basis on which we're talking about the pathophysiology. Like once there is extrusion of this irrigating solution, sodium hypochlorite, beyond periapex, beyond the confines of root canal, we're talking about excessive bleeding. We're saying it's a compensatory mechanism. This happens because of the nature of this solution. So because of this specific nature, the capillaries, tiny blood vessels start opening up, and then they start, there will be bleeding, accumulation of blood within the canal. And this is considered to be a counter mechanism to dilute hypochlorite in case of hypochlorite accident, physiological counter mechanism, which we already discussed previously. So this happens because sodium hypochlorite by nature is isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic. So which of the following options would you choose, or do you think is more appropriate? Yeah. Okay. 1 more minute, and then we'll go ahead with our next question. Okay, time's up. Now let's move on to the next question. Third question, the standard regimen of irrigation used routinely is hypochlorite in combination with EDTA, not simultaneously, you know the reasons, but these are incorporated in standard regimen of irrigation. So what's their concentration? The concentrations are very important for us to understand and remember. So what's their concentration? Because with each concentration, you know, or you can anticipate the effects, the antibacterial action accordingly. So what's the percentage of hypochlorite that's going to be used? And what's the percentage of EDTA? That's concentration of EDTA that's going to be used in case of standard regimen of irrigation. So it's a blank, which makes it even more challenging. So I mean, you can try even without options. I'm sure you can try. And if your answer is exact the same, or if it is closer to the already known percentage concentrations, then it will definitely be considered. But most importantly, you need to try and answer this question. That's it. So the standard regimen of irrigation used routinely is dash percentage of hypochlorite with dash percentage of EDTA. Good. Hadi, Pallavi, Himasai, Payal, Swadhina, Monica, Dikshita, Soumya, Shamaila, yeah, Pallavi, Kavya, yes, well done. Keep trying. You have 1 more minute. So what's the percentage of hypochlorite? What's the percentage of EDTA? So these are the things which you might have come across. Even if you're not practicing, you might have seen your seniors or postgraduates or your professors or clinicians working in clinic using them. So I'm sure you're observant enough to note down or to remember these values. Okay, very good. Well done. Right. So I want to just convey this one important thing. Don't skip answering. If you have already answered first and second question, and if you skip this question because you don't know the answer, then you might lose a chance to be in top 3, right? So make sure that you're answering, whether it's right or wrong, that's secondary, but consider answering very important, because these blanks, as I said, even if the values which you give are closer to the original values, they will be considered when we are evaluating your scores. Okay, yeah. Now, time up. Let's move on to the next question. Which of the following best describes a flare-up? Acute exacerbation of an asymptomatic pulp or periapical pathosis before the initiation or continuation of root canal treatment? Or is it acute exacerbation of an asymptomatic pulp or periapical pathosis before initiation or continuation of root canal treatment? Or is it an acute exacerbation of an symptomatic pulp or periapical pathosis after the initiation or continuation of root canal treatment? Option D, an acute exacerbation of an asymptomatic pulp or periapical pathosis after initiation or continuation of root canal treatment. So flare-ups, as you know, these are endodontic emergencies. So we have a classification: emergencies, endodontic emergencies before, during, and after treatment. So we've gone through that classification. We have seen the list of conditions which we can expect or anticipate. And also we have done extensive literature review. In fact, we had a textbook discussion on this, and I'm sure you're going to answer it right. So which of the following best describes a flare-up? Yeah. So you have, yes, another 1 minute. Time up. I think this is the first time I used a buzzer. So yes, time up. Okay. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next question. 5th question. Skirts in preparation. What are they for? Increase retention, decrease resistance. They're used in amalgam restorations, all of the above. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? Skirts. So if you remember, while discussing secondary retention resistant features, we mentioned something called as skirts. So these are mechanical features which are incorporated in the cavity design for specific purposes. And you've seen how they appear and their objectives, the functions of placing skirts. So what is their function? They increase retention, decrease resistance. They're used in amalgam restorations, or all of the above. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? Skirts in preparation. You have 1 more minute. That is still 7:03. So we're giving you around 2 minutes for each question. I think that's ample enough, because on an average, if you know, or as you already know, you have 45 seconds for each question on an average in your final NEET MDS exam. So 180 minutes, 240 MCQs, if you do the math. Okay. So a few more seconds before I turn off the question. Yes, time's up, right? Now let's move on to the next question. Sixth question, so halfway through our first round. Sixth question, it's advisable to have endodontic patients take their analgesics by the clock as needed basis, as they wish, depending on availability either in the store, or depending upon their availability in that locality or in the market. So which one do you think is more appropriate answer? It's advisable to take or to have endodontic patients take their analgesics. So this is in the context of flare-ups. Again, as we discussed, and also we quoted Engel as reference along with Grossman. So analgesics, they're given so many criteria, which are very much helpful for all of us because of their clinical relevance. So if you are asking the patient, you've done a root canal, patient complains of pain, so you want to prescribe analgesics. So what do you suggest them to do? Take these analgesics by the clock, that is every 6 hours or 8 hours, depending upon the instructions which are available on label, or as needed basis, that is whenever they have pain, you just ask them to take one painkiller, or as they wish, you ask the patients to take responsibility because it's their pain, so they have to take care of it, or depending upon the medications availability in market or in that particular store. Yeah, 1 more minute. And by the way, I'm really tempted to give you a hint. What we do clinically outside in our clinical practice is the one which should not be followed. I think we already discussed this previously, but that's the hint, that's the only hint I can give you. Yeah, I mean, if you want any further clarification, you're always welcome to check out the previous live sessions on endodontic flare-up, which is available on YouTube. Okay. Yes, so I guess all of you have answered this question. Yeah, time's up. Now let's move on to the next question. Seventh question, the success of monophase or single phase impression technique depends on which are the following properties of material that's being used: viscoelasticity, pseudoplasticity, tarnish, none of the above. If you remember, we mentioned about adhesion, silicone, and polyether being the materials of choice for this single phase or monophase impression technique, where the tray as well as the prepared tooth area are provided with the same elastomeric impression material, right? So we also mentioned about a gun where we try to squeeze in that impression material, and also we said that the material's viscosity is altered. So I'm not giving you any answer now. So what's that property that enables us to use these materials as both tray materials as well as a light body or a syringe consistent material? So the success of monophase impression technique, otherwise, the ones which I stated just now, to paraphrase, the success of monophase impression technique depends on viscoelasticity, pseudoplasticity, tarnish, none of the above. So which one do you think is a more appropriate answer? Yes. You guys have another 1 more minute and then we'll shift the slide. The success of monophase impression technique depends on viscoelasticity. In fact, I mentioned about these properties in the live session, in that 15-minute live presentation. And also I said, I promised you that we'll have questions from this. So I've given you, in fact, I've leaked the question paper. Okay. Okay, very good. Yes, now let's move on to the next question. Before that, we'll hear from the buzzer. Yeah, time up. Now let's move on to the next question, 8th question. Typically, the elastomeric impression should be ready for removal within at least -minutes from the time of mixing. So you're taking an elastomeric impression material using any of the technique, multiple mix, single phase, putty wash, it doesn't matter. We used elastomeric impression material for impression making. And when do you remove it? So typically the elastomeric impression should be ready for removal within at least -minutes from the time of mixing. So again, it's a blank. I know it's a challenging question, but even if your answer is close to the right answer, we'll definitely consider this, consider your answer for evaluation. So don't get discouraged and try answering, which is very important than being right. So try answering. Yeah. It seems we have more members joining us live. So those who are joining us live, don't get discouraged. Just check out the previous questions and answer those questions at least now. But when you're answering, make sure that you're giving us the question number, because we are in 8th question now. Those who are joining us now live, you can go through the questions now itself, and then you can answer them. Like in your comment, you can say first question, what's the answer? Mention the question number and then answer it. It will be convenient for us to evaluate even your scores. Those who are joining us now live after the session concludes. I hope it's clear. Okay, very good. Time's up. Let's hear from the buzzer and then move on to the next question. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Penultimate question of round 1. Find the odd one out. So this is not an MCQ. Please do not assume that it's an MCQ. Or it's up to you. It's up to you. I'll give you that choice. In fact, you're supposed to have 6 to 7 options, but I've eliminated them as it's making the text much smaller. But anyways, find the odd one out. You have grooves, slots, adhesives, steps. So I'll give you the context. Since you know the topics already, I haven't mentioned the context, but the context is secondary retention resistant features or forms in a cavity design. So in that context, find the odd one out. Grooves, slots, adhesives, and steps. Which one do you think is not actually fitting here, which needs to be kicked out? Yeah, find the odd one out. Grooves, slots, adhesives, steps. You have another 1 minute. Please try to answer as soon as possible. Grooves, slots. You know the difference between groove, slot, right? We've also seen the illustrations, including steps. Yeah. When it comes to complex amalgam restorations, adhesives, you know about bonded amalgams and all. So you have these options. Which one do you think is the odd one out? Try to answer as soon as possible. Yes, the buzzer has rung. So let's move on to the next question now. Okay. Final question. Small retentive indentations called dash are utilized for retention in incisal areas of class 3 amalgam. So again, it's a context of secondary retention resistant feature. So we have the small retentive indentations called dash, which are utilized for retention in incisal areas of class 3 amalgam. And these small retentive indentations are placed using 1/4 round burr, quarter size round burr. You've seen the illustrations, and I'm sure you're going to answer it right. So, which is a more appropriate term in that blank that you would fit into? small retentive indentations called dash are utilized for retention in incisal areas of class 3 amalgams. So this is the final question of round 1. You have another 1 minute before you have the buzzer. Yes, Pallavi, very good. I really appreciate your enthusiasm, Pallavi, even though you joined us late. You have quickly gone through the previous questions and I've answered them, which is very impressive. Well done, keep it up. So rest of you, you still have a chance to answer previous questions in this, as long as this live session goes on. It goes on for another 15-20 minutes. So try to answer the previous questions as well as soon as possible. This is for those who are joining the session now. Okay. Right. So time's up. So let's hear from the buzzer also, and then we'll move on to round 2. Okay. Now, so we're done with round 1. We've seen 10 questions, all subject based. Now let's see some general knowledge questions. How you're going to answer, it's completely up to you, but do not get discouraged. These are going to be very, very interesting questions, guaranteed. So I hope you guys are ready. Do you want a break? Please let me know. Okay, Pallavi, you're there from the beginning. That's good. You're ready? So I'm sure you don't need a break. Okay, now let's move on to round 2. We have just 5 questions and then we'll conclude our fun fest. So observe this image. Of course, our national flag. An amazing structure. No matter when you see, you'll have goosebumps. No matter what a mood is, or no matter how you're feeling. So you can clearly see that in the center you have something called as Ashok Chakra. I'm not going to ask you the number of spokes because you're going to answer it as 24. But my question is, what do they actually represent? The 24 spokes, which you can see in the center, Ashok Chakra. In fact, Charka is replaced by Chakra. So we have 24 spokes. So what do they represent? You need not answer all of them. Just what do they represent? What do they mean? The 24 spokes in the center of our Indian flag, national flag. I mean, if you want time, I can give you as much time as possible, but because it's a challenging question, I'm going to give you additional time as well. And moreover, it's out of syllabus. I mean, if there were a chance, it's always important, and it would be wonderful to incorporate general knowledge questions in any kind of entrance. It doesn't matter which specialty it is, because people are becoming dumber. I'm one of them, definitely. If we're talking about only specialization, if you are talking about burying ourselves in only one particular specialty, forget about general knowledge. We don't even know how to cook. I don't even know how to cook previously. Thanks to lockdown, I'm able to learn something. I don't even know how to fold clothes, how to wash them. We're becoming dumber, but not smarter. Because with each generation, you're supposed to be more and more smarter, right? I don't think that's the case with these evolving smartphones. The screen sizes seem to be increasing with each generation of smartphone, but I don't know what's actually happening in here for us. Okay, 24 spokes. Are you sure it is 24 hours of a day? Okay, it's up to you. Yeah. So anyways, well tried. Because when you rely on Google search, this is what happens. I'm really sorry to say, but I don't know whether it's right or wrong. I'm not going to say, I know the right answer, but I'm not going to reveal it. But based on what you're answering, if you rely on Google, if you rely on third-party websites, that's what happens. So anyways, you have 1 more minute before we shift to the next question. By the way, Google search happens in less than a second, right? You'll get search results in 0.36 or 0.16 second, which is very, very fast. Okay, well tried, everyone. And yes, before we move on to the next question, let's hear for the buzzer. Okay, Monica, you're concerned about GK questions? No, it's always fun, right? I mean, if it's about domination, see, if it's about proving that I know more things than you, then it's going to be very stressful for both the parties. But if it's about, as you've seen Sheldon's picture, if it's about learning things, enjoying the process, then it's going to be a celebration. Anyways, I'm glad you shared your feelings. Now let's move on to the next question. This is a current affair, the news which we have come across very recently. I've come across a couple of days prior. So we have a new program called Desh Ke Mentor by Delhi government. So Arvind Kejriwal, Chief Minister of Delhi, has announced this Desh Ke Mentor program. Now the question is, who has been appointed as the brand ambassador for this government program? Desh Ke Mentor, where they're planning to utilize the services of around 3 lakh young professionals to mentor government students from Delhi and trying to help them about what they can choose, what they can learn, and the skills they need to acquire. So mentorship program, right? So who is or who has been appointed as brand ambassador for this Delhi government's flagship program, Desh Ke Mentor? Those who are answering it, I'm sure we're all overwhelmed with lots of news, but now it's a test for you whether you're actually following the news or just going or skimming through it without paying any attention, even when it comes to general news. Okay, it seems Sonu Sood is all your favorite actor. In fact, he worked as villain in many of our regional language films, but now he's a hero. Maybe he's always been a hero. Okay, very good. Well done. Now let's move on to the next question after this puzzle. Time's up. Now, moving on, 13th question. Land of Midnight Sun. Which country? It's a sobriquet. You know sobriquets. So, which country is called as Land of Midnight Sun? Not S-O-N, but S-U-N. Actually, this is just a graphical representation. It has nothing to do with the geography, which I'm trying to allow you to answer. So, which country is called as Land of Midnight Sun? No options, nothing. No, don't say Google search, okay? And I don't blame you if you have no idea. It's understood. But I don't know how you're going to answer it. I just want you to answer. So which country is called as Land of Midnight Sun? In fact, I've heard of open exams. I think this is more like an open exam, where a student is allowed to refer from literature while they're answering questions. So that's where the student is analyzed for their ability to refer standard literature and present accurate information. Even that's not very easy. No, that's not very easy. Okay, now that you've answered, yes. I'll give you 1 more minute and then we'll move on to the penultimate question of this fun fest. So, which country is considered as Land of Midnight Sun? Okay, time's up. Now let's move on to the penultimate question. What's the name of eighth continent which was discovered recently? I don't know if you're following it in news. We came across this news this year, around February or February, March. This discovered eighth continent. See, all throughout our childhood, we were told there are 5 oceans, 7 continents, 9 planets. So now all the numbers are changing, except for oceans, rest of them changed. So it's no more 7 continents. So what's the name of the 8th continent that was discovered recently in the year 2021? See, that image has nothing to do with answer. It's just a graphical illustration showing the world map. We are somewhere there, right? In this entire planet. And we assume that we are a big deal. Okay, very good. So what's the name of 8th continent which was discovered recently? See, when you're answering these questions, even spellings will be considered. So, one more minute and then we'll move on to the next question. So, what is the name of the 8th continent which was discovered recently? One more minute. Time's up. Now let's move on to the final question. You have GPS coordinates. As you can see, 46 degrees, approximately 46 degrees north, 8 degrees east. Identify the location. Of course, you need to use Google search for this. All the best for that. So 46.7052 degrees north, 8.2274 degrees east. So what's that geographical location? You have just 2 minutes. In fact, 5 seconds is sufficient, but for you to type, it takes time, I can understand, so I'll grant you 2 minutes as usual. 46 degrees north, 8 degrees east, identify the geographical location. And this is one of the places which I visited. I'm going to share some of the videos from this place very soon. It's been there in my archive for the past several years. We have recorded several videos over here. It's a lovely, amazing, and in fact, one of my closest and favorite places of all time. So 46 degrees north, 8 degrees east. I mean, no one knows. If someone gives you a GPS coordinate, you don't say, I don't know the answer. The first thing you do is Google search, just like how we search for other answers. The first thing we need to do is, instead of saying don't know, the first thing is Google search. If you do not have internet connection, or if your Google search is not working, then I agree when you say don't know. You're not getting that search? Okay, let me also try to search. I know the answer, but I'm surprised that none of you have answered it yet. I mean, you have to enter the exact coordinates. You cannot miss even one particular digit. See, Monica, I already gave you a hint. I visited only 11 countries, and this is one of them. I gave you a hint. Yeah, it might be difficult for you. It might be difficult for you to enter that degree sign. Or you can do one thing, you can use Google Maps. Okay, let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint. It's in Europe. Okay, recalling where I have visited, Monica, that's really embarrassing for me. But let me present you. So, France, Switzerland, Seychelles, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, South Korea. What am I missing? Yeah, Middle East. One more, I think I'm missing one more. Yeah. So I've given you the hint. Yeah, Australia. I excluded Australia. Okay, Australia. Okay, I know this is a difficult question, but it's okay. That's how any quiz is supposed to be. One or two questions, we never know. Okay, anyways. Yeah, those have, it's in fact the name of a village, but those who have mentioned the name of the country also, the answer will be accepted. Okay. Yes, Pallavi. In fact, we have done few videos, subject videos as well in South Korea, in Seoul, where I still remember it was a chilly night. It was 6 degrees, around 7 degrees nighttime. I was outside doing a live session. That live session is still available in YouTube and also in e-classes, differentiating the morphological features between primary and permanent dentition. When I was discussing, there was one woman who, it was late night because of the time difference, it was around 1:30 or 2 there. It was around 9 p.m. So we have a difference of 3.5 hours. South Korea is ahead. So I was outside, chilly night. One woman was walking by. She was terrified looking at me. Which idiot would sit on a pavement and conduct a live session? That was a very memorable experience for me. I wished her, which terrified her even further, because we're foreigners, right? The appearance, morphological features are almost completely different. Okay, very good. I'm glad you guys have answered this. So here, let's conclude our fun fest. So it's all about celebration. It's all about enjoying the process rather than getting hooked on to the result. So when we win, when we are celebrating along with others, I mean, it carries a bigger meaning than just winning something. So Fun Fest, the concept is all about the same. It's not just about winning, it's more than winning. It's about celebration. Celebration of life, celebrating each and every moment. Right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this live session and also you found this informative. And also we'll declare the results. As I said, we'll start working, evaluating your responses. So we'll take some time and make sure that we're doing it as accurately as possible. And top 3 winners, we'll be declaring it within 24 hours. That is, tomorrow is Sunday, right? It's a perfect time. So Sunday we'll be giving you the key, right? We'll be updating the key in this video's description part itself. And also, if necessary, we'll do a separate video. We'll decide that later. But key and result or key along with the top 3 will be declared tomorrow. Okay? So I really appreciate all your active participation. And I hope you enjoyed this session. And for any further queries or assistance, always feel free to get back through mail 24/7. Right? So we'll have more of these live sessions this year. Definitely, we'll try to incorporate more of them. And I'm sure you'll enjoy and actively participate in all these live sessions. And also coming week, we'll plan some academic live sessions again in the same format which we have done previously. We'll incorporate textbook discussions, MCQs discussions and all, and also we'll ramp up and try to give our best as well. Okay, so no matter what the situations are, no matter what the challenges you're facing, just focus on giving your best, and it's no punishment. This is something which you're doing for enhancing your own professional career. And PG preparation is an amazing opportunity for you to enhance your personal habits, and which will definitely have a positive impact on your personal life eventually, right? So, okay. Okay, really good to hear that, Rithu. You're welcome, guys. Really appreciate your feedback, and all the very best. Love you all. Okay, would you like to say good night? Good night. Good night. Good night.